Hello and welcome to Web Relates. Today we're looking at the AskReddit subreddit, where Taken Shots has asked, what's the dumbest thing you've heard a single person say or do that made you think, that's why they're single? Just Tagma has said, I was at a party where a man had been invited specifically to meet a woman who would be there. It was a setup, in other words. He asked her to play pool, a very innocent and pleasant way to get to know someone, right? Well, he immediately started to dominate the game, and he held nothing back, including taunting her when she made bad shots, and just criticizing everything she did in general. Of course, he won, and rubbed it in her face like he was a 12-year-old. Think, in your face, loser! And these people were in their 30s. It was straight out of a sitcom or something. Everyone who saw it knew why he was, and would remain, single. Plan to Live Forever, so far so good, has said, I once ordered shawarma and the guy at the counter asked if I wanted garlic sauce. I responded, sure, put lots. I don't have a girlfriend. His response was, maybe that's why you don't have a girlfriend. Hey, I take issue with this one. All the best girls I know would kill for garlic bread. G-Dog has said, friend of mine struggles with anxiety and just generally doesn't handle social situations well. So struggled with women for many years. Finally got talking to a girl on a dating app and asked her out. He was taking her to lunch for the afternoon, and asked if my wife and I would meet them afterwards for drinks. When we met them for drinks, it turns out they grabbed McDonald's and drove around town to places from Craigslist so he could buy Magic the Gathering cards. He wore sweatpants and flip-flops. It was winter and snowy. He spent most of our time angrily ranting about how an upcoming minimum wage increase was going to kill the economy and close businesses. He makes minimum wage. He never saw her again. Judge Bread has said, a friend of a friend who used to hang out with my roommates. Bigger guy. Didn't really take care of himself. Didn't do anything except get high and play GTA 5. Women these days won't date anyone unless they make 6 figures. Yeah, dude, that's definitely the problem for you. Has nothing to do with the lack of hygiene. Taco Eaters says, co-worker had a short relationship and breakup and was obviously depressed about it. So I engaged and asked about it. His comment was, I just don't understand how to make women feel like I believe that their opinion matters, when they always have such stupid life views. I was hoping it was just a weird way of saying he's struggling to treat women equally. So I asked him to talk about it a bit. Didn't misunderstand. To him, men's views are obviously superior, and it's all about simply pretending that women matter, and he was struggling hard to do that. That guy is crazy. People are people, no matter what. Rustar says, friend dated a guy who took her cat to the shelter as a stray. The cat was chipped, and they called her to pick it up. She couldn't figure out how the cat got out, and the boyfriend claimed he didn't know. It happened a second time, and she had the cameras checked for the person dropping the cat off. She called him on it, and he denied it. She broke up with him, but I always joke that she drove him to the shelter instead. That's not even dumb, that's evil and manipulative. 90s Music Rules has said, I occasionally get migraines, and one of my co-workers asked me how my husband feels about me having migraines, which I thought was a weird question, but I replied along the lines of, he feels bad that he can't do anything to help me when I have one. Co-worker then says, no, I mean, because I couldn't deal with being with a woman that had an illness or something like that. I'm too high energy for that. I wouldn't be able to be with her. I said, so you think that my husband would want to leave me because I get migraines? He said, yeah. I said, so if you were married and your wife got sick with something like cancer or some other disease, you'd leave her? He said, yeah, I didn't sign up for all of that. I politely told him to never get married with that attitude. People can't help that they're sick. Damn. Murray T. Dang has said, whatever you can do, I can do better. A couple friends and I helped set up one of our friends to meet a girl that we all thought would be a good match for him. My friend was a tall country boy who was a little rough around the edges, but he has the heart of gold, will help anyone out, but the brain power of a scarecrow. The date we planned on going great, as they were both mechanics and she was a tomboy who was excited to go on the meetup. She was very cute and outgoing, but the whole interaction between the two of them still pains me to this day. This poor girl made every effort to talk with him about subjects they had in common and would be engaging, like engines, cars, building a garage, and even vaping. And my friend, being a dumbass, just kept on telling her that everything she could do, he could do better. Like I was witnessing someone film that stupid Nike commercial. After 30 minutes of getting to know each other, the poor girl had enough of his belittling and teasing, and had her friend rescue her from the restaurant as the conversation was going so poorly. They were supposed to go to a bonfire together afterwards. To this day, I can't tell if this was my friend's feeble attempt at flirting, or if he had reverted back to his 6-year-old self. It was like watching a car accident in slow motion, and his ill-fated attempt of a conversation still pains me to my loins. He still doesn't realize what he did wrong. Saint Nobody says, "This one is actually pretty funny. Met this guy at a concert, told him he was hot, exchanged contact info. We went out to dinner and to the movies a few times, hung out at events we were both at. Mind you, he's hot, funny, polite, really socially awkward, but overall very nice. Man was floored when I finally just asked him point blank if he wanted to have sex. He did not perceive my interest. When I met him, I wondered hard why he was single. It's a small town, you know, like, good men are in short supply. It's 'cause he's oblivious, completely oblivious. Last time we went out, a really hot lady was trying to pick him up, and I just sat back and watched her send signal after signal and drop hint after hint, and it rolled off him like water off a duck. Hey, at least you know he's going to be loyal." Max Smashley has said, maybe not the dumbest thing he said, but it's the most consistent. My brother, literally any time a woman is mad or even just annoyed with him. "Aw, did your period just start?" I'm convinced my brother will die a virgin. It's better for humanity that way. My husband worked with someone who knows my brother, and she told him that my brother's attitude and behavior towards her and her friends is the reason she's a lesbian. More of a Jordan says, "Oh my god, okay. There was a lot that got said over 2 dinner dates and an afternoon walk, but the real tipping point was this. At an hour-ish dinner, he arrived late, demonstrated how to use Find My for your AirPods for 10 minutes, talked about and demonstrated how bright his bike light is for 15 minutes, embarrassed the waitress with extended conversation, and mansplained my own highly specific job to me for another 10. When something he said presented this side topic, I wrestled away control for 5 minutes to tell him about the DB Cooper air hijacking. He immediately changed the subject as soon as I was done. As he walked me home, he said, "Empathy is all about considering what the other people around you want. When you wasted time at dinner telling that airplane story, you clearly didn't think about whether or not I would find it interesting. And I had stuff I wanted to talk about. No wonder people don't think you're empathetic." Okay, there's dumb, and then there's this guy. Please tell me you guys were 15 years old or something. Charming Operations says, "I want to meet someone at a bar or something, not a dating app. This person never goes out, only goes to work. Also really wants kids." Win Awards has replied, completely seriously, the realization that I was an introvert looking for someone like me, and that unless I did something I wasn't particularly comfortable with, we'd both die waiting at home, was a tremendous turning point for me. They say that the key is to go out and do things that you enjoy and find like-minded people there. Well, I enjoy sitting at home on the couch, so I think the only solution is to break into other people's homes and see if they are on their couches. Spangles and Bambi says, "A partner will find me," said by a person who works in an all-female industry and never goes anywhere but work. Illustrious Ocelot has replied, "To be fair, when I was in grad school, I had the most antisocial girl I've ever met as a roommate. She would go to work, head back to our place, and just hang there all the time. She wanted to get married, but made zero effort to meet a guy, unless playing video games and reading fanfics counts. Then a classmate dropped by to give me her half of an assignment, and her brother tagged along. We spent 15 minutes coordinating our presentation, and apparently the brother and my roommate fell in love in that time. I'll never forget how smug she looked, when she showed me her engagement ring and said, "I told you I could meet the one without going out." Wouldn't recommend her method, but she was right. WTF has said, "I had two good friends. Both were doctors. Both were originally from India. Both were lonely and always talking about how much they wanted to meet someone. They were also both very good and kind people. They had a lot in common, and I thought they would make a great match. When I first tried to set them up, they were both quite interested, but then they had to know what part of India the other was from, and I did not know. Turns out one was from the north and the other was from the south, so they did not want to meet. Last I heard, neither one ever married." Unknown Ocean has replied, "My parents were a North-South Indian marriage back in the 1960s when there was basically no Indians in the US. My mother's parents were unhappy that she was marrying a foreigner, which I always thought was hilarious growing up, as one of the only Indians in my school system. Now that I'm an adult with an adult child of my own, I see what some of the upset was about. My parents' native languages are as different from each other as, say, French and Inuit. They couldn't read each other's scripts. This meant that they talked to each other in English, and I grew up not speaking either language. My grandmother and I couldn't really communicate with each other. So there was that loss. That said, there was also potentially less savory things at play, like caste. Sassy Cat Lady has said, "Men need to understand that I'm the queen, and deserve to be treated as such." Said to me by a sorority sister when I was 18, and she was 20. At 42, she is still single. Once again, people are people. Treat everyone equally. Primo the Pro says, "I'm in my 30s with kids. Done a lot of living since high school, and I met up with an old friend from those days. She complained at length about how she can't find anyone, then confided in me. No one else understands the real us. They're all just NPCs, and we truly understand each other. She was stuck in her high school phase, and was convinced that since those were the best years of her life, that must be true of everyone. I get that saying, 'These are the best years of your life,' in reference to high school as a way of being aware of how truly carefree you can be at that age. But if those days are actually the best years of your life, ouch." Oh look, a hipster has replied, "I have a friend who academically peaked in high school, and still won't shut up about it. She was our class valedictorian, all-American, all AP classes, 4.0 plus GPA, but then went on to do nothing in college and then nothing today. She bloody fumes learning that someone in our old class became a doctor or lawyer, or makes more money than her, and she'll have to point out that they didn't take Y class with her, had a worse GPA than her, etc. I guess she can't fathom that high school grades aren't some glass ceiling, and is perpetually trying to relive her glory days. Girl, you are mid-30s. This is hella sad." You know, when I went into these, I was hoping I'd just see a lot of dumb and oblivious character traits, and we did see a couple of those, but some of the things I saw were just downright horrible people, and that's just a pity. Okay guys, that's it for today. I found that quite interesting. Plenty of things for you to try and avoid in your future endeavors. If you enjoyed, please like, comment, and subscribe. And then I will see you guys in the next video. Cheers!